This is a story of a woman that proved that a layoff at 55 is not an ending, it's a launchpad. Stay with us and see why ageism is one of the biggest mistakes an organization can do. She walked into the office expecting a celebration. Evelyn Reed was 55, a VP of marketing at Sterling & Co., and had just closed the biggest contract the firm had seen in a decade, the massive 5-year Reynolds account. She'd spent 3 months straight fighting for it, often working until midnight. Her boss, 40-year-old Mark, was waiting in the conference room. He didn't smile. The atmosphere was sterile. The only sound, the low hum of the air conditioning. She saw the new organizational chart on his screen. Her name wasn't where the Chief Marketing Officer title should be. Instead, the box was filled by Jake, a 28-year-old she had personally trained for 2 years. A kid whose biggest career achievement so far was mastering TikTok trends. "Evelyn, thanks for coming in," Mark began, his voice flat. "We decided to go in a different direction." She heard the code: younger, cheaper, more digitally native. "It's about future-proofing the brand," he continued, eyes flicking to the screen. "You're essential, but we need someone with fresher ideas at the helm." Jake brings that innate digital agility. Evelyn felt the blood drained from her face. She'd given Sterling & Co. 25 years of her life. She'd missed her daughter's first recital to land the account that Mark was now praising Jake for inheriting. The sting wasn't just the betrayal. It was the casual dismissal of 2 decades of institutional memory. "Different direction," she repeated, her voice steady despite the seismic shift inside her. "I just delivered the Reynolds account." "What direction is that, Mark?" "Backward." He shifted uncomfortably, avoiding her gaze. He knew, and she knew, that age was the only reason. "It's a strategic realignment. We value your contributions, Evelyn." She didn't argue. She knew the fight was already lost. The minute she walked out of that room, she wasn't an executive anymore. She was an expiration date. If this story of professional betrayal already has you nodding in recognition, we need your support. We're on a mission to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. Your support means the world to us. Thank you. For the next 4 months, Evelyn was a ghost in the machine. She was systematically sidelined. Her high-profile projects went to Jake, often accompanied by an awkward, patronizing email from Mark, just keeping the younger team engaged. Evelyn. Her team meetings were abruptly designated optional for her. She was slowly, surgically, being managed out. Every day felt like a slow, deliberate, professional death. She watched Jake struggle, making basic strategic errors she could have corrected in 5 minutes. But her warnings were ignored. "He's learning. Give him space," Mark would say. The anxiety became a physical weight in Evelyn's chest. She started having trouble sleeping. The silence of the night replaced by the relentless replay of Mark's dismissive words. The end came on a Tuesday morning. The HR woman was barely old enough to rent a car, clutching a folder with a forced expression of practiced empathy. "Evelyn, we're restructuring. It's a purely business decision." The severance package was generous, a cynical payoff for her silence, but the words were cold, and the message was clear. At 55, her value to corporate America had expired. The exit was humiliating. She packed 25 years of her life into 2 cardboard boxes, wishing she could disappear into the polished marble floor. She felt a profound and crippling loss of identity, a feeling that she had been erased. The first 6 weeks were a blur of denial and panic. Who was Evelyn Reed without her VP title? She was a woman in her prime, with more knowledge than ever before, yet society had suddenly deemed her obsolete. She sent out 30 resumes, tailoring each one meticulously. She got 2 interviews. Both were with companies far below her skill level. In both, the interviewer, who looked like her daughter's contemporary, asked the same question, just phrased differently. "Why are you leaving a VP role after 25 years?" What they really meant was, "Why are you applying for this job when you're old enough to retire?" The rejection emails began piling up, impersonal digital insults that felt like physical blows. Her husband, David, retired early 2 years ago. He was supportive, calm, and spent his days gardening, but his presence only highlighted her own sudden, consuming emptiness. "I don't know who I am without my title," she confessed to him one night, tears blurring her vision. "They made me feel like I am too old to learn, too expensive to keep, and too irrelevant to hire." The turning point wasn't a job offer. It was rage. Pure, incandescent professional fury. Mark, her former boss, called her, almost a year after the layoff. His voice was strained. Evelyn was struggling badly with the Reynolds contract. They're threatening to pull out. Jake can't seem to manage the relationship. He lacks the historical context. They specifically asked for you. Can you take a meeting? As a contractor. Evelyn felt the icy chill of realization wash over her. They hadn't wanted her ideas to be fresh. They just wanted her expertise for free, or at least cheaply. They wanted the emergency life raft built from the knowledge they had thrown away. She hung up and went straight to the garage. She pulled out the old mahogany desk David had been storing. She looked at her bank account. The severance was still there, untouched. It was her venture capital. She called an old contact, a lawyer specializing in business formation, and registered a business. Evelyn read strategic consulting. This time, she didn't send resumes. She sent proposals. She reached out to every contact she'd collected over 25 years. She didn't sell herself as the old guard. She sold herself as the expert, the person who had seen every trend, survived every recession, and knew the inner workings of every major competitor and client in the sector. Her first major client was a small, ambitious tech startup whose founder, Sarah, looked at Evelyn's age not as a liability, but as a guaranteed asset. "You've seen their failures," Sarah said. "Tell us how to avoid them." Within 18 months, Evelyn Reed's strategic consulting was thriving. Her rates were premium, reflecting her unique value. She hired 2 sharp young analysts, taught them the value of institutional knowledge, and delegated the social media strategy. She only took on 3 high-value clients at a time, earning more than double her old salary, and working from her sunny home office. She set her own hours. She had dinner with David every night. She never missed a call from her daughter. She had finally achieved the work-life balance that corporate life had always promised but never delivered. Her success became the quiet vindication she never knew she needed. One afternoon, she received an email with the Sterling & Co. letterhead. It was from Mark, her former boss. "Evelyn, you'll be pleased to know that Sterling & Co. has retained your services for a high-level restructuring project focused on stabilizing the Reynolds account. I look forward to working under your guidance again." He had paid her severance, but she had bought back her time, her self-respect, and her power. Evelyn didn't reply to the email. She simply sent the detailed contract with her new, astronomical consulting fee. She required payment up front. The system had tried to sideline her, but she had used her experience as a wrecking ball to tear down the walls of ageism and built her own empire. The sweetest part of the victory was that she was now charging Mark an hourly rate for the wisdom he once dismissed as obsolete. The betrayal by Sterling & Co. had been the hardest event of her professional life, but it had ultimately been the gift of freedom. She no longer had to live by the clock of a corporation that prioritized youth over wisdom. She and David had found a deeper, more meaningful connection, built on shared time and mutual respect for her new, self-directed professional life. She had traded a suffocating title for boundless autonomy. Her worth was no longer a negotiation with a 40-year-old boss. It was a number she set herself, reflecting the true market value of an expert who refused to fade away. She had proven that a layoff at 55 is not an ending, it is a launchpad. Thank you for watching Evelyn's incredible story of resilience. If this moved you, please do 3 things. First, subscribe and hit the notification bell. We're working to reach 1,000 subscribers by the year's end. Every subscription matters and helps us share important stories. Second, comment below telling us what city you're watching from. We love knowing these stories reach people worldwide. And third, leave your opinion. What advice would you give to someone facing ageism at work? What was the biggest mistake Evelyn's former company made? Your feedback is vital for our channel's evolution. We read every comment. See you soon.